you. My goodness. Let's do one of these Tony Robbins deals. Whoa, yes. I always wanted to do that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so glad to be here. You know what I was thinking when he was doing all that introduction stuff? How fast could I run from there to there without tripping or stumbling or doing some dumb thing, you know? That's all I was thinking. I was hearing big numbers and all that. And we've done some neat stuff. And I'm going to give you some really good ideas that you can implement immediately for almost no money to make more money on the website. Is that good? How many of you have websites? How many of you don't? That might be a better question. A few. Why don't you? What's up? No, we'll get to that. But let's see. Where should we start? Let's see a little background. In fact, Bill. Remember Bill? Billionaire Bill? How we call him? I was talking to him before he went on the other night. And one of the first questions he asked me, he said, well, what do you speak on? What do you do? And I told him I'm an internet marketing consultant. We do this. We help people do more business on the web. Oh, that's terrific. You know what his next question was? How did you get into that? I think he looked at me and said, damn, you're my age. I don't know anything about that. How did you do that? I don't know. But, hey, let me tell you, this is what I told him, and it's kind of interesting. When I started this, I was actually a seminar promoter, and I had the world's greatest clients. Tony Robbins. My first client as a seminar promoter was Tony Robbins. You guys all know Tony, right? Great guy. Yeah, exactly. It's terrific. We promoted 143 of his seminars all over North America over the course of about 7 years. It was great. Before his infomercial hit, and then on for a number of years after. We started with like 600 people in his programs, or a little under that, and went up to about 3,000 during my tenure. It was awesome. Am I good here, guys? Okay, I'm feeling a little, got a little Garth Brooks thing going here, but I don't know. Anyway, I won't break into song, I promise you that. Anyway, we have Tony, we're doing this stuff, we're doing his programs, and Tony starts saying, these guys are working for us. We're putting together a whole bunch of people, a lot of people in our programs, and you know what he did? And this is wonderful. This made my business. He told his friends. You know who his friends were? People like Brian Tracy, people like Og Mandino, people like Ken Blanchard. All those became my clients. I had this Jim Rohn. You know Jim Rohn? I love Jim Rohn. He is the world's greatest in my mind. I just love him. Anyway, that's what I did. And now here, nothing against any of those big name guys. I love them to death, and they paid me a lot of money, and I thoroughly appreciate it. But what do you think? As they get more and more successful, do you think they get easier to work with or more difficult? You couldn't believe it. In the beginning, Tony was calling me every night. Hey, Ed, how are sales? How are things? What's going on? And then pretty soon, it's one of Tony's people calling, hey, Taylor, do you think you can do that for a little bit less? And, And not bad, I'm not complaining, we were happy. All I'm telling you is that's the nature of that business. So what I decided to do was find the next expert. I found a real estate agent, for example, making $1 million a year in real estate commissions in Long Beach, California. I was in San Diego at the time. This guy, Walter Sanford's his name, some of you may know. Anybody heard Walter Sanford's name? Yeah, okay, I found Walter working in his office. I said, Walter, how do you make $1 million a year in an industry where most people are making 30 or 40 or 50,000? Says what? What do you suppose you'd say after what you've heard here at this whole program? I've developed systems. I said what? Let's share them. Let's take it out to the rest of the real estate agents. His initial reaction, of course, is, no way. I say, why? Because all the real estate agents are in your backyard and they're going to compete with you? How much territory do you cover? He says, 12 square miles. Something. If we can make you another $1 million going around training real estate agents, would you have an interest? What'd Walter say? Of course. We did. First year, another $1 million to his income. That was terrific. Keep his Rolls Royce running. I mean, I don't know if any of you ever had those, but they have a difficult time. His did anyway, keeping it running all the time. But anyway, he was a great guy, and it was a great system. I did the same thing with the mortgage industry. A guy by the name of Todd Duncan did the same thing. I went out looking and looking and looking for these niche experts. The internet pops around, 95-ish, 94, 95? I wanted, of course, to find an internet expert. I did. In fact, I found several of them. Put together a program not as big as this, maybe 300 or 400 people in a room. I get my internet experts up in front of the room. And what do you suppose started happening? They're talking about bandwidth and I don't know what all. And the audience is kind of... and I'm sitting in the back room just dying, It's like, oh my God. And it was really sad. I mean, these guys were up there, they're just like a hypnotist, and boom, 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 boom. At a break, one of the guys comes up to me at a break, one of the attendees, and says, Taylor, why don't you interview these guys? Figure out what it is that they know, put it in my language, business speak of some sort, and get up here and just tell me what to do. I thought of that for a minute. I said, man, that's interesting. That is an interesting idea. I had been a promoter, a marketing guy. All I've ever done my whole life, marketing. Well, not exactly. I was a fisherman for a while, but it doesn't count. After I realized I didn't want to be a fisherman for a living, I got into sales and marketing. Anyway, as I get into this marketing thing, and I'm thinking about, I was the behind-the-scenes guy. The last thing on earth I ever dreamed of being was the guy standing up here. And the truth of the matter is, when I had to introduce my speakers, I couldn't sleep the night before. My wife would say, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, tomorrow morning I've got to introduce Todd Duncan at a mortgage retreat. It just drove me nuts, scared me to death. What do you do if you're thinking about becoming a speaker and you're scared to death to get on the platform and speak? What's the first thing you do? You probably were all right, but I'll tell you what I did. I joined Toastmasters. Have any of you ever joined Toastmasters? Do you know Toastmasters? Yeah, sure, it's a great club. First day, first thing in the session that I sat in on is the importance of eye contact. Now, wait a minute. Look at my eyes. I mean, here I am, fat, bald, and cross-eyed, and I'm going to be the next Tony Robbins. Yeah, Not likely, and thank you. So I'll tell you what I did. I said, if I'm even going to give this any thought at all, I've got to go out and interview experts. Because in this program, haven't they been telling you that for days? Become what? And what's the quickest, fastest, easiest way to become an expert? Find experts and learn what they know. And then you are one. I mean, you find people that did the hard way, lived through it, take their information, go share it with everybody else with your spin. Is that right? Of course. First person I interviewed that I found on the internet, by the way, all the people I put in these seminars, the initial speakers, they were the wrong people. They were like the technology people. I found a woman in San Diego named Perriette Van Cleve. Perriette Van Cleve, her first month on the web, and this is in 1995, her first month, $35,000 in sales, slightly over. Not bad, right? I mean, that's not bad, right? 1995, first month, here's what happened. By her 10th month, and this happened to be, she started actually in January, October of that year, she did $100,000 in October. Not bad. And every month from the 1st to October, each month was incrementally better. I was impressed. Why? She had a system, right? It wasn't a mistake. She didn't get lucky. She had demonstrated a system. I said, Perriette, what did you do? How do you do that? And she told me. She had this thing called a pre-launch campaign. She had all these systems and techniques that she had worked out. And I wrote them all down. What am I now? I'm an expert on that, right? I mean, I found someone. Next person I found was another woman over in Houston, Beth Ellen Rosenthal. Beth Ellen, hello. No, sorry. I've been sitting back there watching. I didn't realize there's a lot of width to this deal. We were in Florida a while back. There's a lot of depth, but anyway, I don't want to leave you out or anything. Beth Ellen Rosenthal, here was her deal. She did about $15,000 to $17,000 a month consistently from her website. Here's what she did, and I love this. She would put on her website, send me a clip of your hair. And then you'd send it, they'd do some sort of analysis, and she'd tell you all the vitamins and minerals you were lacking. And then what do you suppose she did? Suggested that you might buy them from? Not bad. She had systems, she had techniques. Anyway, that's what I did. I went on this quest of learning all this stuff. Here's where this went from there. As I started figuring all this stuff out, I started applying it in my own business, wouldn't you? Yeah. I wrote it down so I didn't lie. October 17th, 1996, I had my first $10,000 day. Now, that's not a bad day. I mean, back then. Not a bad day today, but back then it was a really good day. $10,000 from the internet, right? That's a good day. So I love that. Since then, we've done so much more, and it's not difficult. It's just a matter of doing what? The systems, the right stuff. If you do the right stuff, it works. If you don't do it, it doesn't work. That's just the way it works. Or doesn't work, whatever. Anyway, I don't know, some of this stuff, when you're standing up here saying all this stuff, it's like, God, did that really make good sense? Maybe, maybe not. But I know what makes sense for sure is you have to do what works. You have to identify what works. I started doing it for myself, and then some of my speaker clients said, Taylor, why do you keep talking about all this? You said, because I kept sending them, Tony, you got to do this. Hey, you got to do this. You got to do this. Ted Nicholas, you know Ted Nicholas? The world's greatest copywriter, in my opinion. He is unbelievable. Anyway, Ted calls me and says, Ed, I'm doing a series of tapes for Nightingale Conant. I'd like you to come on the tape series and speak on there about internet marketing. Would you be willing to do that? What do I say? Of course, Ted, I am so glad you asked. To me, that was really, that was when I just felt like I'd arrived. I don't know, my whole life I'd listened to those Nightingale Conant tapes. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I love those. Now I'm on one. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is it. I felt good about myself for a day or two. I didn't let it go to my head too much, but for a few days I was feeling pretty hot. This stuff, what I'm about to tell you, it works. We're cutting through all this stuff. That's my background in it. Since then, this is a little funny too, so I'll throw it in. As I started going out and doing talking, people would come up to me and says, Taylor, I'm convinced. All this internet stuff that you're talking about sounds like it'll work. Can you do it? And of course, what did I say? No, I said no. I said, no, I don't know how to do that. I'd learned what worked, and I'm telling you what works. You go do it. And then the next time I go do another little program or something, and they say, hey, Taylor, can you do this for us? Hey, you can only hear that so many times before you start saying yes to it, right? That's what I had to do. Yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. And we started doing it. So I built this little network of developers and people, did that for years. And now we're franchised. So we have franchisees that are doing not so much the work anymore. We have approved vendors that do most of the work. But that was the concept. That's how we built this. So now what I'm about to tell you, and none of this is rocket science. It's simple stuff, but the simple stuff that most of you probably aren't doing right now. So it's just little stuff that's going to make your website that much better. And how many of you are happy with where your site comes up on Google right now? If somebody Googles for the stuff you do, we got a couple. Good for you. Isn't that awesome? Does that make you money? Yes or no? If you come up, those of you that put your hands up, you're ranking where you want to on Google. Are you making money from it? Yes, and a no, and then more yeses than no's? Here's what, I'm not surprised when somebody says, no, I come up on Google and somebody searches on the keywords that are important to me. I come up and I'm not getting a whole lot more business. Why not, do you suppose? Your website sucks. In a nutshell, I don't want to offend anybody. Now, frankly, I don't care about that at all. Let's face it, you're here to learn the stuff. I'm going to tell you this stuff. If you get pissed off, so be it. It still works. I'm not going to change what I do because you don't like it, But here's what I'm saying. If your site comes up, if you know who your target market is, you know what words they're searching on, and they search on it, and they get to your site and you don't convert them, your site has the problem, right? Of course. We're going to teach you how to solve that problem. But before we do, let me just show you a little thing or two. Handouts coming out? Check this out. See that? That's Google, right? Live, real time right now. And I just assume that if I wanted to have a job as an internet marketing speaker, and somebody wanted to hire me to speak at their convention like 2 weeks ago, excuse me, getting parched. 2 weeks ago, I was in Newport Beach, California, speaking to the National Education Association. Now, I got to tell you how this works. They fly me in, pay all my expenses, put me up at the Newport Bay Hotel or some fancy hotel, bring me in there, and pay me $7,500 to speak for 50 minutes. Is that good? Yeah, would you guys all like to do that? Good, we'll talk a little bit about that. Why do you think they chose me? Because I'm a expert, right? Why do they think they found me? How do you think they knew I was the expert? They went to Google and we're looking for a speaker. They keyed in internet marketing speaker, as you would, right? Wouldn't that what anybody do? Out of how many searches came up? Well, how many returns? 27 million, right? 800,000. And who's under the ads? I am. Do you think that's by accident? No. Been there pretty consistently for the last 8 years. Why? They know how to do that stuff. That's business we're in. Just that simple. We do that for our clients. That's what we do. That's what we're going to try to help you do. I'm going to tell you instead what to do when they get to your site that you actually convert them. So the guys that are currently coming up, your sites start working better. Those of you who aren't, we're going to get your site working better and then get you ranking better on Google and the other search engines. What about these up here? You guys see those? What are those? They're the paid ads. How many of you normally click on the paid ads first? That's right when you get to Google, that's where you click on the paid ads. Okay. It's like never, maybe 2 or 3 that might say yeah every once in a while. Okay, and I know we all do every once in a while, depends on what shows up and all that. But for the most part, what do we search on? What we call the organic listings. That's where we click, right? That's where we want to come up, right? Yeah, right. What if is it just Google that people use? How many of you use something other than Google? Yeah, what do you use? Anybody use MSN? Yeah, do an internet marketing speaker, MSN. Who comes up at the top? Yeah, me. Nice. If I didn't, how do you think I'd feel? Sad and angry, and I'd make phone calls real quick, especially in front of this many people. This is my what? My network. This is Yahoo. Now, tell me this. If you're looking for an internet marketing expert and you go to Yahoo and you search on internet marketing speaker and these guys are up there buying their ad to the top, is that who you would hire? I hope not any idiot can buy an ad. If you're an internet marketing expert, by God, prove it. And this has got to be a simple way to do that, doesn't it? I mean, of course, I'm not saying simple. I'm just saying this is evidence. This is the stuff that works. Talking about evidence, look at your handout. Do y'all see the handout? Can I get a handout? Maybe oh, gracias. This gentleman needs a handout now. Oh, he's sharing. Now they're coming. We have boxes of them. We've done this a time or two. Every time it comes out a little bit different, but this is the gist of it. Let's see. How about AOL? Should we look on there real quick? And I'm all doing this just to show off a little bit. Plus, I'm a little curious. Sponsored links, and I got down there. There it is. I love that. God, every time. That is just so cool. I mean, and not only that, we do it for our clients, we do it for everybody. We're going to talk about that. I mean, that's good. But let's get on with all that. Let's talk now about what you can do to make your site convert better. Because that's what's important, isn't it? I mean, we're going to get you to the top of Google, but once we get them there, we've got to take somebody that comes to your site and turn them into what? Money, something. We've got to be able to take these people and do something with them. And now the question is, and this goes to the first thing right at the bottom of the first page, and you're going to take a minute and fill this in. It's what action do you want people to take when they come to your website? What do you want them to do? Buy. Is that true for everybody? How many? Is there anybody that has a goal for your website other than to have people buy something? What? Leads. I mean, aren't those the two important things? I mean, and there may be other things. I'm not cutting that short. But mostly you want either e-commerce, you want to come to my website and buy something, or I want you to come to my website and indicate that you're interested in something. Is that okay? Yeah. Which is it for you? Write it down. Figure it out. What is it that you want people to do when they get to your website? In other words, what action do you want them to take? Because you don't know who came to your website if they don't do something, do you? No. In order to know who's come to your website, they have to fill out a form. They have to do something on your website to let you know they were there, don't they? And you want to gather maybe some information. If you're looking for leads, certainly if you're looking for e-commerce, you're going to grab some information, aren't you? Like what? A name, credit card number. I mean, some of those things that make e-commerce happen. If you're looking for a lead, you want A name, an email address, all those kinds of things, right? Write it down. What action do you want people to take? Next thing, this should be easy for you. How many of those actions per month would you consider a success? So whatever you just said, I want them to fill out my form to buy my shampoo, or I want them to be a lead because I want them to let me know that they're interested in hunting. If you're looking for a lead, you want to get some information about the people. You might want to know when. When are you interested in booking a tour or go out with the guide? What is it that you want to do? Anyway, get some of that information. How many of them per month do you want? Now here's the stuff, and you have to be honest with yourself. How many are you getting now? So be honest, what's the number? Is the number now 0? Is the number 3, 2? Write down a number. What are you getting now roughly, on average? What information, next blank, what information do you want from your website visitors? If they're going to take that action, what do you want to gather? I want their name, I want their email for sure. Here's what I did. Probably the first 15,000 names that I added into my database from my website, none of them had the cities or states that the people are in. All I asked for was their email address. I was doing seminars around the country. How do you think people felt when I sent out to my entire list that I was doing a seminar in Boston? People here know, they say, yeah, so what? Why did you send that to me? I didn't know. I didn't know you were there. So what I started doing, of course, is start gathering more information. By the way, more people will provide you with much more information than you think they will if you just ask. Now, I'm not saying you want to have 43 questions, but they will give you more than you think they will if you build enough value and you ask. So don't be afraid. At least make the wish list. This is all the information I'd love to have. Maybe things like urgency. How important is it to you to have this? By what time frame would you like one? Those kinds of questions might be useful to you. Now here's something that comes up from time to time. People say, website leads suck. I hear that all the time. Leads from the web suck. You know why? Because not you, but them, those people who say that, they haven't developed a system on their website to take the crummy leads out. I'm a real estate agent. I only sell real estate in Long Beach, California. I get all these leads from people who want to buy real estate all over the country. Tell you what, let's see if we can find a solution for that. Why don't we put something up on the homepage of your website that says, I sell real estate in Long Beach, California. If you're interested in real estate anywhere other than that, don't call me. You think that might solve the problem? It's not tough. All you have to do is say, this is what I do, and all the rest of it is what I don't do. If you're interested in what I do, call me or email me or fill out the form. If you're not one of those, don't. Come on. All we have to do is treat people like adults and build a lot of value in what we do, and things will work just fine. Next. Your website visitor must understand. See, it's easy for you to get on your website or write content for your website that says how terrific you are, all the benefits of your stuff, and you sit there and you read it, and by God, you just get it. This is the best stuff you've ever done. And you show it to me, and I look at that and said, are you kidding me? What do you do? That hand person, that was talking about whatever the hand didn't tell your whole future. That is a terrific thing, I'm sure. I love all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, if you don't find the right way to say it, you don't make all the sense in the world to you, but it won't make all the sense in the world to everybody that you want to affect by it, right? Right, of course. So the test is not to you, it's to your neighbor. It's to somebody else that doesn't know you and say, if you read this, what do you think? We're going to do some little exercises in here because we've done some things in here already about identifying your target market and USPs and all those incredibly important things. We're going to do a little different spin on it in a minute. Next, let's see. Your website visitor must understand what separates you from your market separates you from your competitors, and how they benefit. And I guarantee you, and I haven't looked at any of your websites. A couple of you I'm going to pick on in a minute. Just keep you guessing. If you have stuff on that table, I looked at it. We're going to talk about some of those. And it ain't good. I'm glad I'm not you. Here's what we tend to do. We can sit here forever and talk about the features of our stuff, how big it is, how all the wonderful stuff. And we have to identify here's a great example. If I'm going into Home Depot to buy an electric drill, and I'm going in there and I'm talking to them about the amps and the torque and the battery and all that kind of stuff, what do I really want? A hole. That's right. All I want is a hole. I don't want all the crap. I don't need to, now educate me, sure, but here's what I want to hear. Take this electric drill, take it up to a brick wall with this tip, push on it, and it's like gliding that drill bit through butter. I don't care how much torque it has. I don't care how much anything else. Put it in my bag. I'm good with that, right? That's it. So that's the kind of stuff that we need to look at. What are the benefits to our market? Next. Do you guys know there's a ticker down here? It tells you, that's a bad thing, isn't it? I'm sitting there saying, my God, I have that much left, and I have this much left. I got to quit those stories. Danica, you hogged my time. No, I'm just... Anyway, where are we? Differentiate is the answer, by the way. And we've went through that a million times, and everybody that's been in front of you at one time or another, one way or another, I think has stressed the importance of differentiating your product from the others. Now, let me put this in web ease for just a second. How much time do you suppose you have at your website? Wait a minute, let's do it this way. How much time do you give a website when you look at it before you decide whether or not it's offering what you're looking for, roughly? Let me put it in 3 seconds, he says. Let me put it this way, a long time or a short time? Short time. So what we better do is get mighty good at figuring out in concise language and presenting it in a very succinct, benefit-oriented way what it is that you do that separates yourself from the competitors. Is that right? Yeah, are you good at that? Do you have that down? No. See, I'm going to Harv's Grill Business, or whatever it is marketing, super marketing seminar, best of all time, wonderful thing. I love it when he says that. I have the world's greatest seminar thing, and then that's what do you suppose the name of it is? The world's greatest seminar thing. Okay, well, there it is. That's it. Here's one I really love. How about this? We get millions and millions and millions. I'm digging that. I'm telling you. I see him do that. I go, I like that. That is good. And it's right. That's the thing. It's fun, but it's right. Here, okay, next. Number 5, separate, differentiate. What are you going to do to make yourself different from the other guys? And how are you going to put it succinctly, concisely, right now, in their face, on your website? If you don't have that figured out, it's a must-do. And we're going to do it right now. But here's what I want you to do, not the standard exercise that everybody else has had you do. It says, what's your unique selling proposition? You can sit there and figure it out. You've already done that, right? Do y'all have your unique selling proposition figured out? Right now, your points of differentiation. What separates you from your competitors? Do you all have that down pat right now? Yes or no? Yes. Now here's what I want you to do. Turn to your other partner and say, this is mine, what do you think? And talk about it for a minute or two with a little thinking music. That's okay. Now talk about it. That's it. The number 6, identify your target market. How old are they? How old is your target market? Roughly. I'm telling you, write it down. How old are they? Why do we want to know? Who builds websites? What age group, roughly? 20-something, right? They build websites. What if your target market is 55? Now, 20-year-olds, when they build websites, how big is the font on them? Not big enough, okay? Now, if your target market's 55, wouldn't it be useful if somebody at least made the font on your website big enough to where they might be able to read it? Come on, this stuff isn't rocket science. It's just paying attention. But I'm going to tell you the way it is. And if you're trusting a website developer or a graphic artist to build your website so that it produces a marketing result, you have the people that don't love to get in front of people and don't know anything about sales and marketing normally sitting there giving you advice and direction and input. And why do you do that? Well, they're the web guys, they're the experts, and they are the experts. And by God, I'm telling you, you cannot live without the techies in the web business. But what you don't do is you don't let the techies become your marketing advisor. You're learning the stuff here. You go to them and you say, this is what I want. I don't know what the technology is. I don't care what the technology is. This is what I want. Can you do that? Yeah. Okay, here's another thing to tell them. We can think of a few things, but we're going to skip over here. Where the target market for your group. We've done that, right? Oh, no. The second one on number 6. Why would people want to visit your website? Do this first. Why do you want to visit websites? Do we all agree that it's primarily for information? Is it available? What price is it? Is there one near us? All that kind of stuff. We want information, right? What information will people be looking for when they come to your website? Again, this little exercise, write it down, figure something out. We're going to talk about it in a minute. A little thinking music, write something down. What information would your best customer be looking for when they come to your website? What are you going to say? What's your deal? What's your product?
Oh, it is a photography course.
Yeah?
Okay.
What's in it for me? Why do I want to take your photography course?
Because it's easy to use. There's some basic class that's for free. And you just have to click the next step.
Okay, wait a minute. First, suppose, there's a photography course somewhat for beginners, is this
Yes.
right? Everybody that's paying attention to this will learn stuff too, because you're making the same mistake he is probably. Here's what the mistake is. Right now, do you suppose that any of your competitors have on their website that my photography course is one of the most difficult you'd ever want to take?
Probably
No,
not.
Probably not. So what we want is to find a reason. Why would people want to take your course? I know, let's assume for a minute that they're all claim that they're simple. Okay, whether they are or not, that's a different thing. But let's just say for a minute that all of them claim to be simple, easy to learn, all those kinds of things that we would all throw in there, wouldn't we? What's going to differentiate yours? Why would they want to take yours?
Because it incorporates video clips and interactive dialogue.
What would people do with that information once they had it? Once they were an expert at this, how would they benefit from utilizing your stuff?
Well, my target audience is actually going to be the camera makers. So that the camera makers can put this interactive disc, that's an intro, in their camera boxes and then sell it with their cameras for their customer. So it's one level higher than just the basic customer. But
wait a minute. Let's do this. Do you mind? I don't want to put you on a spot that you don't want to be on. Is it okay to play around for a minute?
Please.
Okay.
Come.
Okay. Let's back up one step, or let's go back up several steps. On your website, what action do you want people to take when they get there? What do you want them to do?
Take the next step.
No,
Click.
No. What for you? What do you want them to do? They're looking at you. What's the name of your company?
It's Image Magi.
Image
Magi. M-A-G-I.
Image Magi, got it. Okay, so we have the imagemagi.com website, whatever. And I'm your target market as something. I don't know now if I'm a camera guy or want to take a photography course.
It would be for a photographer, a wannabe photographer.
Okay, so now if you have another target market, anything other than that forget about them. Okay, we don't care about any of them right now. We have one target market, a wannabe photographer, okay? And they're a beginning photographer.
Yes.
Okay, what kind of camera do they have?
Doesn't matter.
No. More likely than not, what do you suppose?
A digital.
A digital, okay.
Yes.
Now, the assumption with somebody that owns a digital camera, do they think it is easy or difficult?
It should be easy.
And what's the perception of the digital camera owners normally?
It's sometimes rather tough.
Okay. So when I come to, if I'm the guy, bought a new digital, want to go out and really get in serious about photography, I come to your website, what do you want me to do?
I want you to be invited into learning how...
No. What action do you want me to take? What do you want me to fill out? What form is on your website? And everybody that when I said what action do I want you to take, I'm talking about a form. I'm talking about where they're going to type information in that you're going to put in your database. If that's not the way you answered that question, you didn't answer it the way I intended it. Add to that, the form, that's what we're talking about. The form on your website, do you have a form on your website?
I don't have a website up.
Okay, but when you get one, are you going to have a form on it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and on that form, you're going to ask people to?
Give me their name.
No, because they're not going to give you their name. Why would they?
Give me the camera. Give me the name of the camera that they
What you're
have.
going to want is you're going to say, I have a free report. The 7 fatal flaws of 7 most deadly mistakes new digital camera owners make when they're trying to get acquainted with their new camera. Right? Get this free white paper. Come to my website, register for the free white paper. 7 simple steps to master your new digital camera. Huh? Okay. Give them a reason. Bait them with something. Hook them with something. Get them in, fill out the form. Thank you very much. Great job. Give them a big hand. Thank you. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about? You need a form. You need to entice people to fill out the form. When they fill out the form, the information goes where? Into a database. What do you do with that database from now on? Something. Something. You nurture them. They're your customers. You're your prospects. You do something with them. Right? Crucial. And I'll tell you, about half the websites I look at don't have forms. They are information sites. Give me a break. I mean, what are you, teachers? How many of you in here are teachers? Some are. Good for you. My daughter's going to be too, and I love them to death. Trust me. But I tell you, it's not why you're putting up a website. I mean, you're putting up a website to develop a business. To develop a business, you have to have customers and potential customers. Right? That's the purpose of your website. Design what action you want people to take, what you're going to do, fill out the form. Enough said on that. Next, number 7, top of the page. Now that you know what information people want at your website, what you're going to do next is reverse engineer the website. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I mean by that. Right in the blank, reverse engineer. Now, here's exactly what I mean by that. What I'm getting at is all the information. Let me give you a little analogy first. Have you ever heard the story of the salesperson that comes in to make a sale? Say they're selling a copy machine, and have you ever heard this said? They talked themselves past the sale. You ever heard that? Do you know what that means? That they kept talking and talking and talking. At one point, I was ready to buy. Before he would shut up and let me buy, I wanted to kick him out. Okay, because he just wouldn't shut up. And we have salespeople. Now, do you think there's an analogy with websites? Have you ever been to a website that puts out everything that the guy had to know? Everything about the company's on this website. You get there and you don't know what to do. I mean, you can find out everything you want to find out, but it doesn't ever get you to take an action, right? I'm not saying that there's not a place for websites like that. I'm saying this is probably not the place for you to develop one of those. You're trying to say, we want to generate more sales, we want to generate leads. Make your site be on purpose to do one of those two things, or both, but not more than that. That make sense? Okay. Okay, good. Next, understand under section 2 here, you are probably not your target market. See, this is real tough for people. We do all this web development stuff, and I talk to them, to a client, and they say, I say, what do you want? What's the scheme? What's the, what are you thinking about for your website? Or more likely, they come to me and say, here's what I want for my website. Thinking about something yellow and green and, all that kind of thing. Those are my favorite colors. That's what I want to do. I'm kind of like the signs here, all your name tags, And I look at that and say, that's interesting. That's good. What makes you want those colors? Oh, they're just my favorite colors. Now, do you think colors have any impact on the message of a website? Yeah, I'd say. If I have an example. You look at that website. Now, that's not a cheap website, but it's conveying an inexpensive product. Is that right? I mean, they're going to leave the lights on for me and all the things that they do, and by God, I appreciate that. If I was not driving past them, but I might stop there, but but just tell me, do you suppose that the CEO or president or whatever of this company, of Motel 6, do you think he stays at Motel 6s? Probably not. Not when he's out on a vacation or something. Or any other time, more likely not. But anyway. Does that website appeal to a certain market segment? The color choices and so on. Now let's just look at another one just for fun and see if there's a contrast. Now, I'm not looking at anything other than at this point colors, if you can just try to focus on that. You see a difference? Huh? Just in the colors. There's a little difference. And I know there's elegance and all that, but let's do this. This is what's kind of fun. Told you I'm not a techie, I'm a marketing guy. But check this out. What hotel is that? Huh? Is that cool or what? Are they going to leave the lights on for me? Huh? Huh? See, it's incongruent. The colors don't match. I mean, I tried to find his best picture that we could of a Motel 6 something, and that's really one of theirs. But do you see what I'm getting at? It's not about what's your favorite. It's not about what I like. There are colors. Here's something. Ted Nicholas, again, world's greatest copywriter, tested everything to death. I love him. And here's one of the things he told me years ago. I was fortunate. I had a client that had a castle over in Scotland, and we did seminars there, one of my seminar clients, and I invited Ted to come. And I spent a week with him in this castle, and we talked about everything we could possibly think of to talk about. One of the things that he told me was this, and check this out, this is important. If you have an ad, a flyer, something that you're going to hand out, distribute somewhere, and you put one on white paper and one on yellow paper, and they went out exactly the same other than the color of the paper, which one do you think would pull more? Yellow. Now, why is that? Wait a minute, don't answer. I mean, if you know the answer, I don't even want to know the answer. You don't want to know the answer. I'll tell you what I would love. I mean, we send that to the university, right? Figure this out. Why do we do that? I mean, and somebody they can work on it forever, as far as I'm concerned. All I want to know is what? Yellow outpulls white, period. Here's another one. Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth. Any of you read that book? Terrific book. Michael was a great, I won't say great client, but he was a great colleague of some sort. We spent a lot of time together. Never quite as a client. We were interested in his company at one time. But here's the thing that Michael said in his book, The E-Myth. Great, great book. And here's what he said. Blue suits outsell brown suits. Period. Don't care who's in them. Take the guy in a blue suit, put him in a brown suit, take the guy in a brown suit, put him in a blue suit. The blue suit will outsell the brown suit. Did you catch that in that book? Are colors important? Don't let it just go by, I don't care, whatever, I mean, this is not something you take lightly. This is something you take, it's very, very important. It makes a huge difference. Next. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to say all day. So if you are looking for the one nugget, this is it. And the number 3, create the pull, P-U-L-L, the pull component for your website. And here's what I mean by a pull component. See, do people just, if you run an ad in the newspaper, that ad is what I call intrusive. People turn the page, here's your ad, is that right? Put an ad on the radio, intrusive. You're listening to the radio, out comes your ad, right? Huh? Yeah, television, same. The internet, huh? Is it intrusive? Does it just jump up in anybody's face? Not normally, not your website, right? So what's going to happen is you have to pull your target market to your website. You have to get them to want to go there, isn't that right? Isn't that the only way you go to websites, is if someone entices you some way to go there? Does your website currently have a pull component? Some component of your website that will pull your target market in, yes or no? Probably not. Do a lot of you have those? A couple of you do, great. I mean, I'm proud of you, and does it work for you? Are those them heads, seeing nodding heads? They do. If people know that they're out there, you can't have a great pull component, nobody knows it exists. Here's what I did, and you guys will love this. I used to do a lot of radio shows, still do a few from time to time. Say Harv was the interviewer, and we're doing an interview, and I know we have 40 minutes or whatever. Get down to 35 minutes. I say, Harv, thanks so much for having me on your program today. I know I hope that your listeners got a lot of great ideas that they can use, a lot of things they can do to make more money and generate more leads from their website. I'm looking at my watch, Harv, and I'm noticing we only have a few minutes left, and we're not going to have time to cover some of the most important information. And let me tell you what that is. That's the 10 fatal flaws. I mean, Harv, these are the mistakes, and if any of your listeners make any one of these mistakes, they're going to be doomed to fail on the internet. We're sending that hook out for a little bit. And you say it just like that. They're going to be doomed to fail on the internet. And unfortunately, Harv, we don't have time to cover that today. The good news is this, and I know that all of you out there are going to want one of these. They're available right now and absolutely free at the website. So all you have to do is go to www.internetmarketinggroup.com and get the 10 fatal flaws of internet marketers. Will that pull people to my website, yes or no? Of course. Can you do the same thing? You have to. You have to come up with your pull component. Any of you that have been to Tony Robbins programs, what's Tony say? What motivates people more, pain or pleasure? Pain. So what are we going to do? You're going to put some kind of negative report. Something, the 7 most common mistakes people make when buying a new home in Las Vegas. What is that? I mean, if you're a real estate agent in Las Vegas and I was interested in buying, wouldn't I want that more than to see a picture of the homes? I want to say, how to select this, whatever, the 10 most deadly mistakes, whatever. You follow me? You have to find a way to do it. And I love Chet. When he talked about those, what do they call them, the dust mites? The dust mites, that was bad enough. But when he talks about the dust mite feces, I'm like, oh my God, I mean, it's like, you were tiptoeing on that crap at our place, I mean, no wonder people are signing up for these regular cleanings. But that's what we're talking about. Put something together that makes sense, something together that your people can be compelled to come to your website. We're going to pull them in. Hey, by the way, this is a little aside, but it's equally as important to all this stuff, and I'm going to cover it all. But if you want to become an expert, let me tell you one of the first ways I did this. I was a sales manager, brand new job in a brand new industry, one I've never been in before, and the new owner hires me because of some experience I had in the past, and he said, I'd like you to be a sales manager to sell this new product. And I said, okay, terrific. I don't know much about that. And he said, that's okay, you'll learn. I said, okay. He gave me a bunch of stuff to learn. That was the hard way. I looked at, are there any conventions coming up, any trade shows, any industry conventions? Found out that there was in about 30 days. The guy that was the head of the whole convention, the guy running the show, had an office right here in Inglewood, California. And I was at the time in Portland, Oregon. I called him up, Dave Warmby. I said, Dave, you don't know me, but I'm a guy just starting this, and I understand you are the man. You are the guy, and I know that you're going to this convention in Indianapolis, and I just wondered, would it be possible if I flew down to LA to just reserve the seat next to you in the plane as we flew back? I promise I won't bug you any more than you want, but if you just share with me for a little bit about the business. Huh? He said, yeah. Now I have 2.5 hours on an airplane with the man. When we get off the airplane, what does he do? Introduces me to everybody. Taylor, come on up. We're going to go up to my suite and drink beer and stuff with all the guys. I'm telling you, it's not difficult to go out and become the expert. What you have to do is know that it's important to do, find the experts, figure out how to get next to them, pick their brain. It's easy. Next. Create educational content. Again, Chet beat that in. Educate them. And what? Benefit-oriented. Number 5 below that. Write for the scan reader. Scan. S-C-A-N. People are going to... Wait a minute. When you look at websites, you read them word for word normally? You scan them. Do you think people, when they read your website, are going to do the same thing? Of course. Now, that's not always a good thing, but we have to know that's the thing. That's what occurs. What we're going to do is we're going to design the site in a way that when people scan it, what do they see? A headline, right? By the way, what's the purpose of a headline? Of course, grab attention. I mean, that's what I was told, and I even thought it was true for a long time, until Ted Nicholas again told me that the real purpose of a headline is to get the reader to read the first sentence of your content. Does that make sense? I mean, the purpose of a headline in a newspaper is to get attention. Man on the moon. We go by the newspaper. That's all they care about. In direct marketing, what people care about, the headline, they've got to pull you into that first sentence, don't they? And then what's the purpose of the first sentence? To pull you into the second. The purpose of the second. No, you're getting it, yeah. I mean, but we've got to pull them through. If we lose their attention, what do we have to do? They have to scan down and hit a a subhead, a bullet point, something that's going to catch our attention and pull them back. We have about 1 or 2 shots of doing that, and then we lose them forever. Right? Okay, good. So, develop powerful content. We're going to take a little exercise. I gave you a whole bunch of headline and subhead examples. As that little group thing, write some headlines for yourself. Right now, your website, as you're thinking about it, what are the headlines? What are the subheadlines? Look at some of these templates up above to give you an idea. New report reveals 12 strategies used by most profitable businesses to make even more money, or whatever. But come up with something. There's some positives, some negatives. Spend a few minutes to do that, and we'll talk about them when we get done. Okay, somebody, share. Okay.
Hi, my name is Todd from Los Angeles, and my title says Marketing Expert Tells All.
Marketing Expert Tells All. You guys like it? Yeah? No? You're not captivated yet? No? Next. Somebody else.
Hi, Carol. I'm working how to choose a retirement community. Do you want your parents to retain their dignity even if they require extended nursing care?
What people think?
No.
Too long, they're saying. Go again. I was distracted. Come up. Do it again.
Okay. How to choose a retirement community. Do you want your parents to retain their dignity even if they require...
Wait.
Okay.
The 7 most deadly mistakes people make when selecting retirement communities for their parents. Is that better? Yeah. I mean, or something like that. But something where you're going to knock them in the teeth. Don't be an idiot because you don't know what to look for. That might not even be bad. I mean, if no, it's bad, but it's the idea. Wait a minute, green lady.
Green lady, thank you. Are you picking the wrong school? 5 deadly errors in assessing the private school and how to avoid it.
Perfect, but lose the beginning thing. I mean, whatever that, lose that and say the deadly thing. Somebody way over here. One of the floor people over there. Somebody that nobody ever gives them a mic.
Western medicine finally realizing the power of the mind. And then underneath, the NIH recognizing hypnosis.
No, stop.
No?
No, stand up. We're going to talk for a minute. What is the benefit of your stuff?
That I use hypnosis to change how your body is working.
You're using hypnosis doesn't have anything to do with one of your benefits. And to change how my body's working? I mean, my God, I'm sure I can use a whole lot of body-changing stuff, no doubt about that. But tell me what I'm going to do. Am I going to shorten my, or lessen my likelihood for a heart attack? Am I going to, what's going to happen?
You can use hypnosis for pain relief and get off the OxyContin and get off all the drugs you're on.
I don't care what I'm going to get off. I want to know what I'm going to get.
Happiness, longer life, increased immune system.
Okay, now that's increase my immune system is going to do what? It's going to lessen my likelihood for getting cancer, so-and-so, such and such, and all the good stuff. Fine, 7 concrete, absolute, proven steps that you can take to reduce your risk of cancer by 47%. Increase, who was it that said you walk 2 miles and you cut your heart attacks in half? I mean, was that Chet?
Yeah.
Oh, he's good at that stuff, isn't he? I mean, whatever he's doing, do it. I mean, get that. I mean, put it on your, because is that what we're talking about here? Yeah, of course.
All right, don't even think about selling your house to anyone until you've read this important announcement.
That's good. Now, what do you have to do when you're making all these wild claims? What do you have to do? Live up to them, right? I mean, here's what's going to happen. You have an opportunity here to make a good first impression, a good impression, right? If people download your report, they come and they get it and they say, I'm going to tell you all this wonderful stuff that you're asking for on your form. You give them the report, and then they read it, and what do they say? Oh, God, I knew all that. Huh? Now, are you on their good list or not? Probably not. So what you have to do is you have to put a lot of effort in developing whatever it is we're giving them. Back to our,
Okay. road rage, driving too much, tone, reduce your blood pressure, and arrive energized. Click here.
They're not impressed. I mean, one is that it may be too long, I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And again, what's the benefit? What are people looking for?
Stress reduction and toning while you're driving.
What are they going to get out of it?
Lower blood pressure, arriving relaxed,
they're going to come
energized.
home relaxed after a hard day's
Yes,
work.
yes.
Okay, how to spend 45 minutes in rush hour traffic and arrive home absolutely relaxed and wish you had a longer commute.
Excellent.
I'm good at this stuff, all right? Come on. Hey, wait a minute, my turn for a minute. Check this out. You can do the same thing with questions. I mean, you can ask questions. I like that guy. He's excited back there, but it's not your turn yet. Anyway, you can ask questions. Now, let me give you an example. A lot of you in this room are old enough to remember Johnny Carson, right? I mean, some aren't, but most are. Do you remember in Johnny Carson, late at night, when it was getting right down to the last few minutes, he would have some goofy thing on? Remember that? I mean, it was kind of fun. One night he had a guy on there that was the best salesperson. I don't know how he got the title. I don't remember all that. But he had the title of the world's greatest salesperson. Johnny, as he was good at, he said, hey, thanks, congratulations, all the things that he does. Sell me something. He said, no, I can't do that. It's like you coming up and trying to be funny or whatever, And Johnny talks him into it. And he says, what would you like? Johnny, okay, if you want me to do it, what would you want me to sell you? Johnny says, why don't you try to sell me that ashtray? And the sales guy says, well, first, why would you want to buy an ashtray at all? Well, I smoke during the commercials, some of my guests smoke, so an ashtray would probably be a good thing to have. And yeah, that makes sense. Now I see you have the orange ashtray. Why would you want to buy an orange ashtray? And Johnny said, well, it matches the set, and yeah, it does. It looks good. And I says, now Johnny, how much would you give for an ashtray like that? And Johnny said, I don't know, probably $15. He says, it's yours. Done deal. Put her here, Yeah, that's good. I mean, if you ask the right questions, right? I mean, you can lead them right up to it. We can do that. We just have to think right. I mean, so anyway, next here's something that's really, really important when you're writing content for your website. Write in what I call the active voice, right? I'm doing this for you. We're going to help you save more money. We're going to help you have the hunting trip of a lifetime, Joe. We're going to help you bag a trophy, right? Build trust. Look at the handout I gave you. See all the things down the side? What are those? Testimonials. What do testimonials do? Help build trust. Let me tell you something. On your website, testimonials are good. Case studies are better. Case studies what do I mean by case study? It might be like somebody says, we've came to this program, before I came to the program, we were doing X. And then we went to the program, implemented some of the ideas and the things that we learned, and now we're doing X 3 times X, right? Now all of a sudden we have a case study that we can now take out and say, look, I'm not saying you can do it, but I am saying this is what they're telling me they did. Does that make sense? That has more credibility. That's what you want to build. You're not going to do anything with anybody on a website if you don't first trust them. One of the things you can do to build trust at a website is include photos. So if you have a building, a big brick building, and you have an office in there, by all means, you take the picture of the building and you put that on your website. You build trust. If you're working out of your home, or you're working at, something like that, you go find a big brick building and take a picture, and you can't really do that. But what you can do is you get some really elegant pictures of people, right? Have you ever seen those that you buy somewhere at the photo places that they sell them online, and it looks so professional, and you put those on your site? Photographs increase that quality image. We know, we do it for ourselves. We see it for ourselves. Next. I see you, I just can't hear you. The question is, I got it, thanks. The question is, do we need to get permission? Do we have to have permission to get testimonials or to put testimonials on our website? The answer, I think, is pretty much yeah, I would. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. Take it even a step further. Is it difficult to get testimonials? How do you get them? Ask. Some of you might get a little bit of information out of this program that would be useful to you, I hope. And if you do, would you be so kind as to send me just a little email that said, hey, I applied some of your stuff, I liked it, it worked, and so on. Would you be willing to do that? Yeah, of course. I'm serious. I want it. I mean, but that's what you do. You just ask your best customer. All right? Then, you know. By the way, talking about 200 or 300% better, would you like 2 little tricks right now that all of you can use to increase the results of your website by 200 to 300%? Yes? Yes. Here it is. Oh, by the way, did any of you guys probably saw this gal here yesterday? Terry Shodine. She was here the other day. I think maybe it was yesterday. And she's a client of ours. By the way, I should show you that. Here's what I did. Googled on persuasive sales skills. That's what she teaches. She's a writer, and that's what she does. We Google on that. She comes up number 2. I'm not happy with that, but I live with it. If we're on the first page or 2, I'm usually happy. So we click on her site, and we go over here. Now, if we go to her order form, see, if we're on the order form there, you see what's on there? A picture of her book. Okay, remember that. The point is this. On that particular one, I just found it surfing around. There's no picture that follows you through the checkout on an e-commerce website. So you make the order, and then you say, do you want to buy this? Yes. You go through the whole process, and then you get down to the checkout, and the picture is not there anymore. That happens on a lot of websites. I'm telling you, all you have to do is make it so that picture is next to your description and all your product price on the checkout page. You'll increase your converted sales by 200 to 300%. Is that good information? Yeah, absolutely. You can do it in a heartbeat. It doesn't cost you anything to do this, and it absolutely works. Next. Track the results of your marketing efforts by doing what? You ask this question on your form. How did you find this website? How did you find this website? That's not difficult, is it? Can you ask that question? Yeah, put it on your form. Next, develop the tracking systems for website-generated leads. The tracking system for website-generated leads that come in on the phone or the mail. We have clients that over 40% of their responses from their website come in on a telephone number. How do we know that? We put a separate 800 number on the website that every time that number rings, we know the that came from the website. Every time it's a new client that calls in that number. It's the only place that number is published is on their website. That makes sense? So now we can track that. It's important. Little stuff makes all the difference. Next. More important website marketing info, rules for links. Do you have links on your website that link to other websites, yes or no? Yes. Is it a good idea? Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Here's the bad idea. When you start reading your first page of content or any page of content, and it says, hi, welcome to our website, thanks so much, here's what we do, we're wonderful and terrific. We're also a member of the Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce, blue and underlined. Now what happened? We just sent your prospect to the Chamber of Commerce website, right? Are they ever coming back? We don't know. Not a good idea. Put a button, a link on your site that says links. We're a member of the Chamber of Commerce on that page, right? Then if they want to see all the wonderful things that they can link off to, other resources or whatever, let them do it there. Not in the content of your normal site. Does that make sense? Yeah, of course. Next. And I covered that. So it says, do not link from content, have a links link. And then here's the next one. When they link onto that other one, let it come up in a new browser window. You know what I'm talking about? Your site's still there. The new site comes up in a new window. Doesn't cost you a penny more, but you have to tell your developer to do it, right? So you just tell them, every time we link to another site, I want it to come up in a new window a little bit smaller. So it doesn't cover my entire site. It's just a little bit smaller so people know a new window open. That work? Sure. Would you think that'll help? Of course. Next. Be sure to retain your copyright. A lot of people that develop websites own them. In fact, everybody that develops websites own them unless there's a contract to the contrary. default is if you have me build your website, I own it. You commission me to build a website, I own it. It's mine. It's my property. If you don't have a work-for-hire agreement saying that I'm doing this for you, it's a problem. Get one. What's number 2? Have the ability to make your own website changes. Today, you cannot be at the mercy of a website developer every time you want to make a change to your website. And there are tools now that are so simple, so easy, that you don't need to know any amount of programming at all. One of the products that we work with is called Site in a Box. And it is awesome. You just go in there and say, I want to change this or add this content, and you hit publish, and it publishes it. If you're in a big company, you can have departments go through the process of adding stuff to the site, get approval before it's published. And again, these are inexpensive today. This technology is here now, you need to use it. Next. Contact information must print on every page. Here's what I mean. Right now, you go to a web page, you like it, you think it's really neat, you're going to show it to a coworker or a spouse or somebody. You print out the site. You give it to them. You print out the page you're looking at, and you say, hey, check this out, and if it looks like it would work for you, why don't you call and make reservations? Is there a phone number anywhere on there? No, there's usually a link over at the side that says, contact us. Yeah. Huh? No, I'm not saying, here's what happens when we take this to the web developer, and we say, I want my name, phone number, information on the bottom of every page. And they say, that's redundant. Yeah, duh, I knew that. I don't care. That's the problem. I mean, I want it on every page. If somebody prints out a page of my website, I want them to be able to take that page and call me. I mean, doesn't that make a little bit of sense? Again, this isn't rocket science. It's just that it's not the way it's typically done. We don't take the responsibility for telling our developer that that's the way we want it done, and it doesn't get done the way it should be. It's that simple. Next. For the ease of navigation and logical sequence, we know that. Search engines. I was listening to Marshall last night, and as he was talking about the hub, remember the hub? I said, to me, I'm hearing Google. Google. He talked about the hub, Google. I mean, isn't that for us, for a lot of us? People right now, if they're looking for what you offer, where do they go? Google. I mean, some of the other search engines, I mean, it's crucial that we come up on top of that. Now, here's the problem. And under number 1 here, under that section, it says remove the guesswork. Remove the guesswork. Here's what I'm talking about. If I asked you what word, somebody just volunteer. If you wanted to come up on Google on a certain search phrase, what search terms would you like to come up on, Daniel? What search term? Yeah. Okay, if somebody were to key something into Google, what words would you think that they would key in if they were looking for you?
Computer consultant.
Computer consultant. And everybody get it in their mind. What words, in fact, we're going to write them down, but what words would people search on, don't write them yet, would people search on when they're looking for you? Now, Daniel, what market area do you serve as a computer consultant, roughly?
The business person, like an administrative assistant.
No, I'm talking about geographically. Is there any confinement?
Yes, there is, because I do live trainings as well.
Okay, so what territory would your best customers be located in?
Northern California, Bay Area.
The Bay Area, Northern California. So if I was in Chicago and I searched on computer consultant and you came to the top and I went to your website and I submitted your form, I've completed your form, what kind of lead would I be?
Not a good one.
A lousy lead. So we got him to the top of Google on what? The wrong search terms, right? I mean, because we generated a lousy lead for him. And where does he want to come up? Because what would I do? I search to Google. I search on computer consultant. I see a long list. I real quick recognize that I don't want a computer consultant in Chicago. I want one in Northern California. What's the next modification I do to my search?
Put the state in.
Put the state in. But I'm in San Diego. See, so what we're going to do is we're going to search on Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, whatever, right? So we define the search. And you know what we do? I mean, when we go to Google, isn't that the process? We will put in a modifier to our search based on our first search results. We normally do that 2 to 3 times before we find what we're looking for. Is that true? Of course. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to right now think of the broad words, the computer consultant words that apply to your business. What are those words? The broad terms. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, let's hear it for Ed, everyone.